We have Emma calling in from Georgia. Her pronouns are she, her, and she's calling about her husband. Her husband has fears that their child could be pushed into being gay. That is definitely an interesting concern. Emma,
Yeah,
how are you?
thanks for joining us, Emma.
Hi. Hello. I'm quite nervous. I told Katie that, and this is my first time watching. And I follow Matt, but I'm never brave enough to call his show because I hear he's pretty tough.
Well, I'll be quiet.
I kind of, that's how I found the show because I'm quite a big fan of Matt, but even my husband complains sometimes that I watch too much. He said that's enough.
Yeah, well, thank
like,
you for joining us. I'm sorry to hear about this this tension between you and your husband. Can you walk us through it a little bit? Tell us what's going on.
Yes. Can I give you a little bit of my background because it's just hard for me to start. Katie was amazing. All the things I hear about Katie is true. Everybody say how great Katie is.
Our incredible call screener. For sure. Thank you so much.
And so basically, I'm from Russia, and I moved to the United States when I was a teenager. And it was quite different, and I enjoyed that America is very inclusive, and growing up in Russia, I've never seen another person of color till my teenage years when I moved to the United States.
Wow.
So that gives you a little perspective. I've never seen another person of color. I mean, not another anyone but white, but I'm afraid to say the wrong thing. And
you're fine.
And I'm trying to learn. I'm the most left-leaning person I know, and but I'm still learning. Like my husband kind of jokingly refers to people on the LGBTQ people, and he calls them ABC, XYZ, and I found it a little bit like he's just been, I guess, ignorant. But then I watched a video where a person who was a big Trump supporter said that about gay people like ABC, XYZ, and I told him, no, I can no longer have you say that because that just immediately took me to that. And
it's a way of dismissing like really hard fought and meaningful identities for a lot of folks. And that may not be the tone in which he means it, but it's at best pretty ignorant. So I appreciate you holding the line there.
Thank you. He's not a bad person. He's not he kind of minds himself, and he says he doesn't care about politics. He said, unless they're going to come and pay my mortgage, I don't care. And I always tell him, well, you think you don't care, but it does affect you. And I always try to talk to him. And even this last election, I had to drag him to vote. And he told me, I will vote like the way you tell me to. And I said, no, I can't have you just vote because I tell you to. He's like, I'm doing it for you. You care about this. And you tell me to vote for this person, I'll vote. And I said, no, please, like, do your own research because in a way I felt like it's a election fraud in a way. And we had the Georgia election here as well. And I also brought my husband to vote, and we voted for John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock. But I told him, please, I said, I don't care who you vote for. It's important for me that you care about the same thing I do.
Take it seriously and see the significance of these things. If I may, do y'all fight along a lot of these types of issues? I mean, I'm very curious about sort of the tension around your child and what that looks like.
Yes, I know that they came up as the main topic because when I was talking to Katie, and I tend to talk a lot, and I tend to kind of swirl away from the subject, and she tries.
It's a nerve-wracking situation, so. Yeah, thanks for
I
rolling with
appreciate
us, even as I keep
calling about.
interrupting you and throwing off your flow. I don't mean to make it difficult at all. Just love
Oh,
to know how we can help.
No. Sometimes I need that. But this maybe wasn't the main issue I called about. But Katie was kind of like, "Is this your question?" And
Sure.
I even
Well, yeah,
called her,
if you're not comfortable jumping into that, that's okay.
But I'm being from Russia.
Mhm.
I hear a lot of that Russian people are homophobes and they outlawing gay people. And I hate to say something, and somebody will correct me and say, "Oh, well, you're wrong." Maybe someone in the comments. I might be wrong, so I'll admit that. But as far as I know, they do. We have celebrities that are openly gay and they be loved by everyone. So it's kind of hard, like kind of weird for me to hear people say, "Oh, Russia are just anti-gay. It's illegal."
Sure.
But I know that in Russia they against promoting anything gay,
Right.
as in pushing people to become gay, which is the thing. And this is kind of how my husband thinks. And this is what always drives me nuts.
Yeah, and it's so important to just make it super abundantly clear that there's no media campaign, there's no amount of propagandizing or anything else that's going to make somebody be gay. All you can do is take a straight person or a gay person and cut them off from important parts of their own identity by traumatizing the hell out of them. So yeah, we can't become gay or be made gay, but I recognize how prevalent that idea can be, and it is something that we see legislated in a lot of different ways in Russia. And I want to recognize, the distance, both like literally and metaphorically, between us and there. The news stories that we get over here are often skewed in a lot of ways, but this is a really meaningful civil rights issue that I'm not incredibly up on, but I know is happening all the time in a lot of different ways. So I just want to continue to kind of beat that drum to say that nobody is becoming gay because of something a celebrity said or because of, what TV show they were watching or whatever else.
Yeah, as a
Yes.
quite queer person, I could say I certainly wasn't seeing trans and gay people on the TV shows I was allowed to watch. Maybe occasionally, but they were usually like the comedy characters. They weren't the main characters of any shows that I grew up watching.
Being
And
gay was
somehow
the butt of the joke.
Yeah, and somehow I still found myself questioning my gender and questioning who I was attracted to. I mean, I've had
if I can jump in, even though I said I wouldn't, I don't think I'll be scaring Emma at all. But what I would say is a lot of what people are afraid of, hey, my kid stopped going to church and went out and hung out with this group, and now they're a different person. And that different person fear is true of now they're not a Christian, now they're gay, now they're anything. And the truth is, that's who they were. What was happening beforehand is you were inhibiting their ability to be who they were and express it. And so the first thing you got to do is point out, A, why are you viewing being gay as a negative thing in the first place? B, there's not something out there that just magically turns people gay. The truth is human sexuality is a massive spectrum and people fall everywhere from, matter of fact, I don't think anybody's, this Christy will correct me, I'm sure, but colloquially, what I'm saying is, I don't think anybody's truly, completely straight. But how do you, I imagine some people are always going to be that way. But it's like we've just viewed it as a negative, and oh my gosh, something terrifying is happening to my children. They've stopped believing in God. They've stopped, holding to the family's values. And the secondary discussion needs to be: are the family's values actually a good thing? And they're not.
For sure.
Okay, can I answer that? Basically, were you saying, oh, why do we view gay as a bad thing? And my husband always says, yes, if my kid comes out to me, he says he's gay, and he's like, nothing's going to change. I'm going to love him the same way. I'm going to support him. But let's not make him that if we can avoid it, kind of thing. And also it kind of ties that, like in Russia, we force left-handed children to write with their right hand, not because being left-handed views as a something bad, but because it's easier to be a right-handed person. And I heard that he hurt a lot of kids who were naturally left-handed and they were forced to use the right hand, and you can learn to do it, but it's not something that they were kind of forced into it in a way that where the teachers would like smack you with a ruler.
It's a great metaphor, and I think it represents it in a lot of ways. So I hope that provides a little bit of clarity. I'm glad that you are pushing back on these ideas and that you are, holding the line and holding him accountable in some ways, but that also it sounds like there's some good back and forth. Even if he is still kind of working to metabolize some of these ideas, it sounds like he hears you and he listens.
Yes, he's a good person. He always say, I hate when you use the word homophobe, because even recently we had an argument about he's against the bathrooms being trans bathrooms, and we had we don't usually argue. You asked me earlier if we argue a lot, and we do not usually. But this is the kind of subject that I try not to go deep in, because I end up sleeping on the couch because I'm so mad. And the recent one was the bathroom thing, where I tried to discuss with him. He's against transgender people using the bathroom, and
well, where am I going to go?
And the example.
Rudy's got to pee somewhere.
The example he gave me just really, really drew me nuts, because he said, well, how would you feel if I'm in a man's bathroom and there's a woman who's pretending to be a man walks in and pulls down her pants? And I say, why would she be pulling down her pants? And he said, like, all the way down. And I said, is that what you do in the bathroom? And is that what other men do? He's like, no, because we have something to pull out, but she doesn't. So for her to be able to position herself in a man's uterus, she'll have to do that. And I was like, wow, you're out of your goddamn mind if you think she wants to put, or whatever he calls it, in this position. And he calls it a woman pretending to be a man, and vice versa, a man pretending to be a woman. And this is, he just kind of, not educated, and neither am I. I'm trying to learn, but this just drew me so insane. And he said the same thing about, he's like, how would you feel if a man pretending to be a woman walks into your bathroom and waves his thing around? And I'm like, do you really think that that's happening?
Yeah, we definitely know that's not a thing that's happening. That's not what, first of all, that's not what a trans identity is or means in any kind of real way. But in any case, I'm glad that you are educating yourself. And we really appreciate you watching this show and giving us a call and just kind of letting us know about this journey that you've been on. So I really appreciate it. I hope that we've been able to offer a little bit of insight and growth, and God, if nothing else, I guess commiseration as you're working to bridge a gap with somebody who's still working on wrapping their head around some things.
Yeah,
thank you so much for
all
calling.
I would add to that before saying goodbye is just I tell your husband how many times you've been in a women's restroom and seen anybody's vagina, which is probably zero.
This is extra funny for me because on March 1st, I sat down on stage with Dinesh D'Souza, and through the course of that discussion, Dinesh decided it would be a really good time to talk about trans people. And that was a really huge mistake on his part, because he started by comparing it to just identifying as a frog, which was ridiculous. But he made a comment about how he wouldn't want his wife or daughter to be in a women's room only to have a trans woman walk in and start flashing their testicles around. And I'm sitting next to him thinking, I've been walking into rooms with people who presumably have penises and testicles my entire life. I don't recall a single time where I've seen another man's testicles or another person's testicles.
But that's because they weren't transgender. That's what somebody was saying. That's normal. People don't usually do that, but transgender people would definitely walk. That's what they're fighting for. They're coming into the women's bathroom so they can flash their testicles and vice versa. That's what they're fighting
They're just
for.
such shorter routes.
My
If you wanted
question,
to be a flasher and a dick, like there's so
Yeah.
many easy ways to go about it.
You don't have to assume a whole new gender identity. You could just go and do that.
You can just there's somebody
There's
guarding the
nothing
door.
stopping. There's nothing
but that
stopping
wouldn't be-
anybody
that
from
wouldn't
walking
be
into
legal.
industry.
That wouldn't be legal.
Oh
Doesn't
no, it
matter
wouldn't be
if
legal. They get
it
arrested.
doesn't matter.
They get arrested either
Unless
way.
you're transgender and you have the right to do it. So basically, transgender fighting for the right to make that legal, to flash people. Basically, that's
oh my gosh.
Great idea.
So there are people who
Yeah,
like to
but,
flash people, and some of them may be trans, but that's not the trans agenda.
Yeah, that's about as far as it goes.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah,
Yes,
I only flash people for money. Follow me on OnlyFans.
Yes. And I will point out that I've seen a number of penises in the restroom over the years. Still don't recall ever seeing any testicles, and it was so strange that he went directly to that. It's like he doesn't mind seeing a penis. He just doesn't want you to raise it enough so you can see underneath it.
Got to draw a line somewhere, I
It's
guess.
so strange.
And that
Thank
place
you
is
so
right
much
at the
But
front.
my OnlyFans is basically it's consensual flashing.
Yeah,
It's different.
exactly.
But I never really got to my question. But you did guys provide me a lot of useful information. But I just feel kind of weird because I deviated from one topic to another, and I know you guys have other calls waiting. But
Yeah, well,
basically,
hit us up
my
in an
question-
email or give us another call. Like we'd love to hear from you. I do have a few more interview questions I'd like to ask both of these folks before I let them out the door. But yeah, please reach out. You can hit us up sex@atheist-community.org or give us a call next week.
And you know,
thank you so much. You guys were amazing. And Matt,
Yes, ma'am.
I survived it.
you did.
Thank you so
I'm
much.
not nearly as scary as you might have thought. By the way, the email address sex@atheist-community.org was never my email address.
Oh, okay.
What's your email address and
Got it,
your phone number and your address?
Try to talk to them. Thanks so much, Emma.
Yeah, have a great night.
Thank you so much. Have a great night as well. Thank you so much,
Thanks,
guys.
Emma.
Yep.